Hello, it's John Heaton, and today I'm going to have a look at the Beatles' festive offerings over the years. There have been a few of them, some more successful than others, in my opinion. And then I'll quickly talk about the genre in general. I don't want to ruin the mood by criticising some of these efforts, but happy Christmas, everyone, in the meantime. The first thing to talk about is the Beatles Fan Club put out a little sort of flexi single every year from 1963 to 1969, just sent it out to the fan club members, and nice little Christmas messages on them. This was a compilation of all of those. It's a bootleg copy, unfortunately, which I picked up on this sort of murky green vinyl with the very dark apple. By the way, if you ever see Beatles on coloured vinyl, it's most likely a bootleg, and I think I picked this up in Camden, and I think the same shop in Camden is habitually, every time I've been there, they've been selling, Abbey Road on green vinyl, Revolver on white vinyl, and they're all bootlegs. And even when I asked the guy in the shop, he admitted as much. Anyway, these Christmas singles were quite fun, and they don't bear too much repeated listening, but they're quite a laugh. And there's almost a proper song on the 1967 one, The Christmas Time Is Here Again, which I think saw a release on one of the CD singles from the Beatles, maybe around the time of the anthology or more recently. But it's a bit repetitive, and you can see why they didn't release it officially, but it's quite a fun listen. So that was the Beatles. In the solo years, John was first out of the block, so I still don't have the picture sleeve of the Happy Christmas single. It appeared on Shave Fish in 1975. Here's the illustration to go with it. It's interestingly credited to Oh No Lennon. So I think Yoko had more to do with the writing of the song than John did, which is interesting. It features the Harlem Community Choir. It's got gorgeous production from Phil Spector. There's a lot of good things about this song. The sentiment is pretty excellent. Agree with most of that. The only thing I'd say is the war is over thing is a nice sentiment, but it's sometimes easier said than done, and it's a little bit unfortunate that song right now in the middle of the Ukraine war. I mean, you tell the Ukrainians war is over if you want it. They're not about to give up and concede all kinds of things. So I think the lyric is a bit simplistic, but on the whole, I think it's a great song. It's pretty epic, although the tune, I have to admit, is nicked from an old song called Snowball, which I think was so old that they couldn't be sued for it. But if you listen to that song, the tune of the verse is almost identical, which is a bit disappointing when I found that out, to be honest with you. So that was Lennon. And then George, this is not a Christmas song, this is more of a New Year's song. Ring out the old, ring in the new, ding dong, ding dong. This is my Portuguese copy. Very simplistic, simple words. This is my Italian copy. And this is my Yugoslav copy. So it's not a great song. I've got a bit of a soft spot for it. It's got an amusing video with George sort of raising the flag outside his house in Friar Park. But when I played it to my sons the other day, they were not very keen on this song. They were slagging it off and didn't do anything chart-wise. Karen Tyler ripped into it. Not George's most successful moment solo-wise, but as I said, I play it every time we come around to this time of year. Now this next one is not strictly a Christmas single, but I kind of always associate it with Christmas because it was released right at the end of November, and it got to number one in the first week or two of December and stayed at the number one spot for the rest of December, through Christmas, through the whole of January even. And so Christmas 77 is forever associated with this song, Mull of Kintyre. So if it comes to Christmas and I'm liable to put on a Beatles solo track, it's probably likely to be Mull of Kintyre more than anything, even more than Happy Christmas, War Is Over, although that one will get played as well. Probably play them all, actually. Anyway, that was a thoroughly decent, what I would call seasonal single, not necessarily festive. And then we've got Wonderful Christmas Time from 1979. Now this song at the time when it first came out, it effortlessly got to number 6, which is more than any of the 3 singles from Back to the Egg had achieved. So McCartney must have taken notice of this, probably prompted him partly to go solo after, and part of the reason for him going solo was the chart success of this single. It's aged pretty well. It's grown on me as a song. I thought it was a bit twee at the time. I found it very hard to defend against criticism from my friends at school, because it was, I mean, let's face it, the lyrics are pretty uncool and pretty childlike. But then, you know, the choir of angels sing their song, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, as you know, as George sung in Ding Dong, Ding Dong. They practice all year long. I mean, but then if you think about some of Paul's songs which are childlike, maybe they're aimed at children, like Mary Had a Little Lamb and the Frog Chorus. If you look at it in that respect, and he did have young children at the time, 1979, then it's somewhat more forgivable. And as I say, it's an effortless little tune. It did well, and I love the synths on it. I love the chord changes. It's a little bit banal. I think one of the books I was reading called it a cheerful but awkward sing-along. The only thing I would say, which makes me a bit cynical, is recorded it on the hottest day in July of 1979. So what McCartney was doing in a studio in July, on the hottest day of the year, recording a Christmas song is... Anyway, that was nitpicking, because at the time that might have been annoying, but now, however many years later we are, 43 years later, it's... you know, people forget when it was recorded and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll come on to the whole genre of Christmas songs at the end of this video, but just want to mention the last effort from a Beatle to do a festive thing, and it was Ringo doing an entire album, I Want to Be Santa Claus, and this is pretty much an unmitigated disaster. I think there's a couple of songs which are listenable. He even does a cover of Christmas Time Is Here Again, the Beatles song. Winter Wonderland is okay, but it's pretty unlistenable. I don't even go back to it, to be honest, but it did appear on vinyl, so for completeness sake I had to get it. Does it come with an inner sleeve? Yeah, it comes with the musician credits and stuff. So that was Ringo, and now the question I suppose one can ask is, has anyone been successful in this genre? And because everyone's tried it. A lot of people put out Christmas albums, not just Christmas singles. I mean, Bob Dylan has, not particularly successfully. Clapton has, again, not great. Elton. I can't think of anyone who's done it really successfully. I think if one had to pick one's favourites, or my favourites, I'll go back to I quite like the Slade one. That's decent. But my top two, without question, are Wombling Merry Christmas from the Wombles, 1974, and Mary's Boy Child from Boney M. Those regularly get played every year without fail, and so does Happy Christmas, War Is Over, and Wonderful Christmas Time. But if you want my favourites, it's the Wombles and Boney M for Christmas. So thank you for watching. See you next time. Happy Christmas.